I was cracking, everybody. The video. It's been a while. Today I'm actually doing this one for the back seat of my car. I don't know why I feel like it's easier, but so I had intended on doing a funny story, actually a prison story, right? But then I was just thinking about with everything going on in the world, the way everything's looking, the way things may get. Forget trying to be funny right now, let's just be real, right? So what I wanted to talk about was and is where you are right now in your life, where I am in my life, where you work, where you live, who's in your life, whatever your situation is all a result of the decisions that you've made in your life, right? Your parents had an influence. Your environment growing up, it had an influence. The people around you had an influence. But those influences were just that, influences, right? It's how you chose to respond to those influences that have led you to where you are right now. I want to ask you guys, like, how many of you guys in your life right now, keeping it 100% real, how many of you guys are happy? 100% happy. I don't know that anybody could truly say they're 100% happy. But I know that there's a lot of people that are more unhappy than others. And I think it's because, in my experience, the people that are the most unhappy hold themselves the least responsible, I can give you an example. Like, let's just say this. One of the biggest reasons why people are unhappy is because they're too worried about what anyone else thinks or what someone else thinks of them. Worried about what someone else expects of them. And like, how can anyone really ever be happy trying to make someone else happy? You might make them happy, but how does that make you happy? And it's great to be selfless. It's great to do for others, but not to the point where it affects your happiness and your well-being mentally and physically, right? Every single thing that we do, every decision that we make leads us down a path, right? I can tell you, like, let's say there's a person in your life. Let's say your boss, right? You have to deal with your boss 5 days a week. Some people 6 days a week, right? And let's say this person is an asshole to you every single day. How you choose to respond is going to affect your happiness, your well-being. There's decisions that you could make. What can you do, though, to make him not be an asshole? Nothing. The only way you could permanently end that would be to take that person's life. Because you realize, like, if you're no longer in that person, if you let that person live and you move on and you get another job, that person's still an asshole. That's just that person's nature, right? And when you understand that, then, maybe you can start figuring out how to work around that, or, like I said, change jobs. But if you were to be foolish enough to take that person's life, now that's a whole nother situation that you've created, right? That's another turn, a little twist in your path. I'm just trying to get at the decisions that we make throughout the day set us down a certain path. And we need to be aware of the decisions that we're making. We need to be aware of the thoughts and the beliefs that we have, you know. I remember and I don't know how this is going to fit in, but, you know, even in prison, man, you have people that are so busy wanting to impress and please others that they sacrifice themselves. I don't know if I have enough time to tell this story, but I got out of the shoe up there in Pelican Bay. I got out of the shoe in August of 1999, right? And Pelican Bay, it's one of the prisons where they don't, well, I don't know about now, but they didn't just throw somebody in your cell. There was too many cell murders that had occurred up there, and you had the FBI sitting in the shoe investigating everything that was going on up there. So they were on their P's and Q's administration. So they wouldn't just throw somebody in your cell, because if you killed them or they killed you, the prison could be sued. They'd be liable, you know. So they came out with this thing they called we used to term it the marriage chrono, right? So they would have you pull you out of your cell and you meet a person, and then from there you both sign saying, yeah, we're compatible. Now, what the administration knew, I don't know, I can't speak for the blacks and the whites and all that, but for the raza from down south, it doesn't matter who they pull you out to talk to, you can't refuse a cellie. You know, even if you go out there and you ask him, hey, homie, where you from? And if he tells you he's from up north, you guys are gonna be cellies, and you know, you deal with whatever you got to deal with in the cell. You don't tell the hoorah, hey, I can't live with this dude. But anyway, so my cellie had parole, and so they pulled me out, boom. So I went down there, and it was usually like in a school area, program office area, and that hallway right there, right on BR Pelican Bay. So I go, and I remember there was like 6 or 7 bottles right there in the hallway, right? And I don't know which one's which. The hoodah's gonna come and he's gonna say, hey, you know, call me by my last name and call that dude, and then we're gonna talk. But I remember seeing these dudes, and they were all pretty, you know, quiet, you know, just checking things out, looking through the window out to the yard. But there was one dude, and he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And you could tell, no disrespect to anybody, but he's a white dude from a barrio. And, you know, sometimes they have to do the extra. You know, they feel they have to. They really don't, but they feel like they do. And this dude was with the extra. But what also stood out was how he was. It wasn't just the way he was speaking. It's the way he was conducting himself and the way he was dressed. And one thing in prison, you know, for the raza, you know, you're not going to be walking around, hey, prison or not, you're not going to be walking around in dirty clothes. You're not going to be walking around all wrinkled up. You're not going to be walking around with holes in your pants. You're going to be professional every day. If you got hair, it's going to be cut right. If you shave your head, it's going to be shaved. You're going to be shaved up. You're always going to look presentable. You know, you're always ready for business, right? And everything about this dude, his pants, you know, and I'm sorry, it's the way it is in there, man. You know, you're judgmental like that. You know, his pants, the way his pants were, his shirt, he was kind of sagging, it looked like, you know. And I remember thinking in my head, I hope this dude is not who they're going to get at me about. Sure enough, it was. And at one point, he even took his beanie off, and you could tell he didn't know how to shave his head, because he tried to bick his head, and he had cuts all over his head. And I was like, fuck, man, this dude's a JCat. So he came into my cell, and long story short, we couldn't stand each other. And, you know, the big riot happened a few months later, February 23rd, 2000. The big riot happened, and we're stuck with each other. Ain't no cell moves. And actually, like, I knew he wasn't a punk. You know, he just was really dumb. And he was always concerned about what other people thought of him. He was always concerned, you know, how he was perceived by others. And so he talked too much, and he talked too loud. He lied too much. And I knew it was going to be a problem for him. And, you know, I remember one day he got in the mirror. He's the one that did the Santa Bruta across my stomach. We had a tattoo gun and we had ink and shit. Well, we melted down some handballs to make ink. And he's in the mirror. And I'm on my bunk and I'm reading. It's facing the door, which is where the toilet and the mirror are. And I see him fucking writing on his face. And I'm thinking, what's this fucking idiot gonna do now? Sure enough, he turns around and he's like, hey, homie, hey, will you tattoo this on my face? I don't tattoo, but it was just regular writing, right? And you guys know I don't use prison terms, to identify groups, but it wasn't the 3-letter word, but it was a 6-letter word. And he wanted it to go across here, right? And he said, hey, homie, can you tattoo this on me? I said, nope. And he was like, no, I trust you. It's just right. I said, you haven't earned that. And he was butthurt, right? What do you mean? I said, what do you mean, what do I mean? I read your paperwork. You ain't never heard nothing. You know what I'm saying? You are not part of the world that you want to, tattoo on your face. And I don't think you understand, like a lot of dudes don't, when you tattoo certain things on your face or on your body, period, in prison that carry certain meanings, you're obligated now. There is no saying no. There is no, hey, I got a visit coming. Or, hey, my kids, nah, fuck all that. You have made it obvious to everyone, this is what I want to be a part of, right? And again, it was him feeling less than, obviously, and trying to be more than. But not through the work, but through his talk and his appearance, And it was a few months later, the Juras, they ran up on us, they rushed our cell. It was wartime, and they found some stuff, and they found some knives. That's a whole nother story. One day maybe I'll tell. I doubt I'll tell that story, man. But this idiot, they shouldn't have found him. But now I was a lifer. He wasn't. He had like 6 years to go, right? So we're in the holding tank. And they're tearing the cell up, and they got the squad in there and everybody else. And I'm like, don't trip, Holmes. I'm gonna write both of those. No. This dude, in order to impress other people, put his freedom on the line for getting caught with a fucking knife, which we're never supposed to get caught with, right? And like I said, it shouldn't have happened that day. And later on, when I went to the SHU again, there he was, and he was validated. And he wasn't validated for the right things. He was validated because he liked the high sign. He needed attention constantly. And this individual had been basically ostracized. He was moved into a pod where there was no other raza from Southern California, which is extremely rare in Pelican Bay SHU. And the reason why is because nobody could stand him. Nobody liked him. And that dude was still trying to get people to like him. And, when I was thinking today about how the world revolves out here, I thought of him. Because a lot of times, I've said it before in other videos, especially my old videos, no matter what goes on in this world out here, because the majority of my life was spent in prison, unfortunately, I have to find a story. I have to find a memory from prison to kind of like compare it to and get a better understanding. I think out here, it's cracking everybody's soul. As you see, I'm not in the car no more. I'm at the pad, tired. But for the second time, man, my phone overheated. I don't know about these iPhones. Excuse me. But hopefully you guys understood the gist of what I was trying to get at with the video today. The decisions that we make daily, they lead us down a path. No matter what anyone else does in our daily life, it isn't what they do that forms our path. It's how we respond, the decisions that we make based on their actions. But we have a choice, you know, and let's just make sure that we're making the right choices. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was trying to get at in this. Um, we can't worry about what anyone else thinks of us. We can't and shouldn't even try to make someone appreciate us, like us, or accept us. We need to be happy with who we are, and as long as we're doing the right things, we're gonna be all right. So this video is already way too long. Everybody have a blessed day. And don't forget, tell the ones you love that you love them, right? With that, I'm out.